Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor. First off, I want to apologize that I have not been around and I've not been consistent lately. I was really debating what topic I wanted to bring to you today. And of course, you know from the title and the thumbnail, but it took me a minute to just get to this place where I want to be upfront and honest about where I've been. Not that there's anything sneaky or sly to share, but sometimes just jumping back into instruction without explanation about what's been happening in my life doesn't quite feel right. And YouTube is a hard platform because it's not necessarily social, which I find difficult. The work that I do helping people heal trauma has really brought an understanding of the importance of connection, and the highest state of the nervous system is love and connection and co-regulation and attunement, and that is relational. In fact, complex trauma is a relationship wound, and so it requires relationship, and so it's hard to always show up on this channel um, in a way that feels like I speak into a void. Sometimes I love the comments that are left, but there are very few. And certainly I can see a thumbs up or a like, but beyond that, there's no engagement. And that can be challenging. Although I recognize the distortion of the fearful inner child that wants to believe that no one is out there or we're not seen or not heard. And so I know that that is just a distortion. So I choose to show up in a way that believes that you are out there and you care not just about the information that you're receiving for free, but also for me as a person. And so I want to speak to you in that way because I do very much care about you. I don't know who you are. I don't know your name. I like the phrase that says speaking is my second language, because it really speaks to the lack of importance of actual words and the felt sense of your energy. And I feel you. I know you. And if you are here on this channel, especially if you're watching any type of vlog updates, you actually care about me. And so I really want you to know that I care about you. Everything I do is for you. I literally am here on earth for you, for your purpose, for your healing. That is why I was created. And so I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the channel, the soul family. If you're part of my email list, you know I send you lots of love and support and value all the time. And I do that from a place of love. And so if you could return the love today, that would be greatly appreciated. It's been a rough couple of months. I don't often tell hardly anyone about what's going on in my life for the sake of professionalism. It is very important to maintain that um, separation between the parent or the parent, the the therapist and the client, and so holding myself in that place of professionalism is very important to me. And yet it is sometimes verging on a trauma response of hyper independence and isolation and trying to do it all myself. And so, in an effort to put down that armor and to be a real human and to be vulnerable, I have to be seen. I have to allow you to see me. And so that means truth, honesty, transparency. And for those of us who grew up in a hypercritical environment, there is a fear of doing something wrong, a fear of rocking the boat, of upsetting people, of losing relationships, losing love and connection because I say or do something wrong. And so that always operates in the background for me. And again, bringing these things to the light of awareness, doing the trauma spotting work, closing those stress responses in the body, and working with the spirit of the creator, the Holy Spirit that lives within, to heal that allows us to regain our capacity, allows me to regain my capacity to show up in a vulnerable, honest, transparent way. Notice how I started to go into we. It's so much easier to teach than it is to say, this is where I've been. Right. And everything that I teach is from where I've been. So if you follow me, you kind of already know that. Um, so the last few months have been pretty challenging, to say the least. I even have to go back to the last few years. We'll try to keep the long story short, but really the last 12 years. I even have to go farther back. So all the way to childhood, complex trauma, a narcissistic pastor for a father, always blaming and shaming us, telling us we were guilty sinners going to hell. So there's that element. Then also emotionally unavailable mother, being a hypersensitive, very ooey gooey, squishy kind of person, very soft and loving. It was extraordinarily difficult for me to grow up in that environment. And because of that, there was always this perception that love had to be earned, that you can't do anything wrong or you will lose love. And so that, of course, complex trauma opens the doors to self-abandonment, people pleasing, overgiving, self-sacrifice, all these things. And so I would pour myself into relationships, often narcissistic, often manipulative. We match to people based on our trauma. And so I had not one, but two very significant relationships in my life that were extraordinarily narcissistic, of two different kinds. And so I didn't see the second one coming. And so my most recent partner, we were on and off for 12 years, has been in and out of my life. And this is exceptionally difficult to talk about publicly. Because I'm such a lover and because I see the best in people, because I can see potential, and because I genuinely love from a very deep place. You could call it naive, you could call it weak. I kept going back. Another chance, another chance, another chance. I have two little girls with this man who are now 8 and 10 years old, and they are the most gorgeous, angelic, divine beings I have ever been gifted to know. And I wanted to save their family. I wanted to make it better. I wanted to fix it. But the key was I was carrying the burden. I was always the one who changed. I was always the one who tried to fix. I was always the one who carried the load in every possible way. And I was free of that. The divorce was final in 2021. About the same time I started the business, I filed for divorce and quit my job. And so it's been a fight. My whole life has been a fight for survival, a fight for love, a fight for safety, a fight to be seen, to be taken care of properly. And this trauma healing journey has been profoundly life-changing. I literally tried everything under the sun and nothing was fixing it. And I have healed in so many ways. I would not be here right now speaking on camera, helping hundreds of people heal trauma that heals relationships and money blocks and business blocks and everything, health. It's there's nothing that this modality can't heal. And yet it takes time for it to heal all the different areas of where trauma has impacted your life. And so in the early days, I would go back. I would leave because I couldn't take it anymore. My soul was being crushed. I was dying inside. My children were not being treated properly. And I would leave, but then I couldn't tolerate the pain of the separation, the pain of failure, the pain of my children being exposed to yet another woman. And so I would go back. And each time I would heal and go back for a different reason. In the early days, it was going back because I couldn't tolerate the healing journey. In the latter days, it was because I would go back because I believed in the healing journey, because I could see it was the trauma that caused those behaviors. And there was improvement, but at the end of the day, if someone lacks a desire to address their necessary healing journey, if they're not committed to self-reflection, taking responsibility, accountability, and for all the reasons that unhealed trauma creates, there's a lack of empathy. You can't teach somebody to care about you. You can't teach somebody to take care of you emotionally if they can't take care of themselves. And so in the last 2-3 times I went back, it was because I saw what the trauma healing could do. And I wanted so deeply for that person to heal, for their children, for me, for our family, for themselves, for the world. And he wouldn't. And so 2021, I was done. I was ready to be done, but because I was also in a very difficult position of starting a business and trying to care for my kids. Life forced me back in. And then from there, last April, I left again. That should have been it. It should have been it. I moved into my dream house. It was amazing. I was close to family. I was 85 miles away from this person. And yet, unfortunately, the location that we chose, the schools that the kids went into, was extraordinarily misaligned for them. And I don't have all the answers as to why I was called into that. I'm starting to see some of them now, but in the moment, it did not make any sense. How could the creator create this opportunity to move 85 miles away, to be close to family, to have my dream home, and yet it wasn't working out? They were not thriving. The schools were extraordinarily misaligned for them. Excuse me. To the extent that my oldest daughter was having panic attacks. So it was clearly not going to work. So we had to move back. If you can believe that. We had to move back again. And never, ever have I once tried to be deceptive or had ulterior motives. Every time I went back, I gave it my all. I wanted it to work. I wanted to try. I was truly all in. But even this time, he couldn't. And I will say, of course, every person at their core is a good person. He's a good person. He doesn't have good behavior. He doesn't treat you good, but he's a good person. And so we moved back 2 weeks before school started, week and a half before school started, moved back into that house. The kids needed to be back in their school. That had to be the priority. That is their most stable experience in life, and I cannot take that away from them. There has been too much back and forth and destabilization through moving and the toxic relationship with their parents. I hate to put myself in that bucket, but we have to be vulnerable and honest. So they're back in the schools. They're thriving, but things at home are not working. This is where I will say that the creator is always taking care of you. Always, 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 even when it doesn't make sense. It made no sense for me to move 85 miles away for 6 months only to move back until I discovered there was mold growing in the basement of that house. The houses here that were available to me as a self-employed individual with a relatively new business, a baby business in the eyes of the banking system, we were not able to access new construction. We have to have new construction after years of mold exposure. And so that's why we had to go 85 miles away to get that new home, to heal enough to come back to realize the source of the problem, and then to move into another new construction place that is now in our current hometown, if you will, the same home, the same town where my kids have grown up. So it's been a lot. Moving, I would say twice in a year. My girls feel like it's like 10 times because of the different houses, but we are alive, we are well, we have identified the source of a very major health concern, and we are detoxing, we are moving into a beautiful new chapter. And the end of that cycle is done. The end of that cycle is done, not just for me, but for the collective. There is something major that has shifted, that we are not in struggle anymore. The energy, even I would say the matrix of struggle, has collapsed. Now we are just collapsing our perceptions, our old identities, the ways of being. And because life is a mirror and it's projected from us, from our nervous systems, our perspectives and our beliefs shape our reality. We are in the process of detangling ourselves from that old energy and that old state of being, and that requires an energetic nervous system shift. And so I'm happy to say that we are in a gorgeous place that we absolutely love. And that does not just speak to me, but also to you and to us collectively as humanity. Even if it hasn't fully shifted for you, it's here now. It's happening. It's already done. It's already done. That's the state of being we have to rest in. So what does all this mean? What's really interesting is that amidst all of this, the business has exploded. I am at max capacity. I cannot help any more people one-to-one, and we are stepping into teaching people how to be trauma spotting practitioners. So coaches, therapists, spiritual leaders. This is incredible work. I would never have been able to break free from that toxic relationship. I would have never been able to show up on camera and speak my truth. I would never have been able to raise my prices and command $300 an hour. I would never have been able without this work. And it's not about me, it's about the collective. There is something that works. All this piecemeal crap where we're like hypnosis and QHHT and affirmations and deliverance, and right, they're all pieces, but because they're disconnected, when I try to do this thing and then this thing and then this thing and then this thing, it doesn't work. It's got to be done in sequential order. But when you do it, when you work with the body, that's another key. Is so we got the piecemeal issue, and then we have the lack of work with the body. Those are the two primary problems with trauma healing work today. Point being, this works. Point being, sorry I've been MIA. I'm sorry I've been inconsistent. I'm sorry video quality has really not been great as I walk down the sidewalk and hold my phone. I have tried to show up for you the best I can, and I will do better going forward. I don't even blame or shame myself. I care about you. That's why I apologize. I had every right to do what I needed to do, and I will hold that space for myself, and you should too. That is a result of trauma healing as well. But beyond that, I just want to say I love you. Thank you for being here. If you care, if this work helps you, if you look for the videos, please comment. Just let me know you're out there. I love you guys very much, and I will continue to fight for me, for you, for us, for collective humanity's healing, and for Eden, because it is happening here and now. So all is well. It's better than it's ever been before. I will be more consistent showing up. Welcome to the new space. I love you all very much, and I will see you on the next one. Namaste.